start by asking you to please stand for the national anthem, which will be performed by Cornell Burke Jr. and the presentation of colors by the Newport News Police Department's Honor Guard. Thank you. You may be seated. Good afternoon. I'm Lieutenant Brandon Cresswell, and I welcome you to the Newport News Police Department's 19th Basic Law Enforcement Academy graduation. Welcome distinguished visitors, recruit family members, friends, police personnel, and recruiting staff. I would also like to introduce those seated to the stage on my right. Chief Stephen Drew, United States Attorney for the Eastern District Zach Terwilliger, the Honorable Tynika Flythe, Councilwoman Dr. Sandra Cherry, City Manager Sidney Rolfe, and on the back, Police Chaplain Donald Reed, Assistant Chief Joseph Moore, Assistant Chief Michael Grinstead, and Assistant Chief Eric Randall. Thank you all for being here today. I also see a lot of different uniforms in the crowd, first responders, police, military. Thank you all for your service, and thank you for being here as well. So to begin, I'd like to bring up Police Chaplain Donald Reed to come forward for the invocation.
Please join with me in prayer. Father God, we thank you for bringing everyone together for this celebration of graduation for these new law enforcement professionals who have answered your call to do justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly in your presence. God, you have taught us to pursue peace, righteousness, and justice to make this world a better place. These courageous graduates are tonight joining those who already serve our great city. Be their guide this day, every day, and all days. Give them strength, fortitude, determination, stamina, and compassion to do their job as they enforce the laws of our community with honor and dedication. You know, God, that their chosen profession isn't an easy one. These are particularly difficult days. But they will do it because of their desire for goodness and love and a belief that our community and our world still needs protectors. God, we ask that you see the light of hope and determination in each one and know that they are our messengers of peace and justice in our neighborhoods. Every day, when these officers and all officers of this great city put on their badges, we ask you to be with them. Be their unseen guest walking next to them and bring them safely back to those who love them. Whenever duty calls, walk closely by their side and instill in them great courage. The citizens of Newport News expect our officers to be there for them at all times and in all situations. And to this task, all of them have dedicated their lives and accepted the sacrifices that is required of each. Be with them, God, and let them remain compassionate at the right time, unyielding when needed, and at all times give them strength and faith. Amen.
It is my pleasure to now introduce Newport News Police Chief Stephen Drew.
Good evening. Well, I guess it's still afternoon, right? We're going to lighten this up a little bit. Can you stand up for me, young man? The best violinist on the East Coast. Outstanding job. I guess they're hiding in the back, but the pipes and drums and the Newport News Police Honor Guard, outstanding. Outstanding. So it is my honor today to not only work here with the newest members of our family, but I have the honor to introduce our guest speaker. we're all in for a treat, make no mistake. Zachary Twilliger is the 62nd United States Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia. As the Chief Federal Law Enforcement Officer, he supervises the prosecution of all federal crimes and litigation of all civil matters in which the United States has an interest. As a U.S. Attorney, he leads a staff of over 250 prosecutors. Prior to his appointment as U.S. Attorney, Zach served as an Associate Deputy Attorney General, the Chief of Staff of the Office of the Deputy Attorney General of the Department of Justice. In that role, he was a principal advisor to the Senior Department of Justice leadership in such areas as corporate compliance, federal, state, and local law enforcement cooperation. I'm sure he will touch on that today. Violent crime reduction, and other critical matters. Zach began his career as Eastern District of Virginia as an intern in 1999 and returned in 2005 to serve as a summer law clerk. Zach was appointed as a Special Assistant U.S. Attorney in the Eastern District of Virginia through partnerships with the Virginia Attorney General's Office, where he is an integral member of the Alexandria Division Project Safe Neighborhood initiative that focuses on removing the most violent offenders, the violent criminals, from our community and city streets. It couldn't be more true. I'm going to go off script for a second. I just spent a few days with Zach in Kansas City, Missouri. It's much colder there than it is here. So we had some good conversations. And I will tell you, he has a true vision for the Hampton Roads area, and I am excited to work with him and his new ideas and energy. Mr. Twilliger was hired as an Assistant U.S. Attorney in 2010 and assigned to the Major Crimes Unit, where he prosecuted numerous violent crimes, fraud, organized crime, and human trafficking cases, and managed law enforcement task officers focusing on human trafficking and illegal firearms. From September 2015, he served as counsel to the State Judiciary Chairman Chuck Grassley, where he focused on issues relating to criminal law, elder justice, human trafficking, and the Bill of Rights. Zach earned a Bachelor of Arts degree in Government and Foreign Affairs from the University of Virginia. I have to give him a hard time about that. And graduated with the highest honors from William Mary School of Law. Zach has lived in the Eastern District of Virginia for over 25 years. Ladies and gentlemen, it is truly my honor, and I ask that you would join me in welcoming Zach to the podium.
Thank you very much, Chief Drew. It's wonderful to be here with you all today. It's nice to be joined on stage with a judge, and I'm finally not the youngest person in the room. So thank you very much for being here. Chief Drew is someone who I met for the first time 6 months ago. We both started our jobs about 6 months ago, and I know we both have long days and tough roads ahead, but the partnership that we've already been able to develop has been incredible. And spending a week together at the nation's premier law enforcement conference, where he represented this department and this community. It was a nationally recognized conference, and the fact that he was there and he was recognized and he was asked to come speaks volumes about the type of leader that you have here. Lieutenant Cresswell, Chaplain Reed, graduates, and families, thank you so much for allowing me to be part of your special day. To the 17 men and 1 woman who began as recruits and are poised to become graduates, in just a few moments receive your badges. I am in your debt and in awe of your commitment. As you all know, and especially these members up here on the stage, this is a difficult time for law enforcement. There are sectors of our society and community that not only fail to respect law-abiding law enforcement officers, but are downright hostile. The narrative has resulted in many police officers being punished for the very serious sins of just a few. There's often a cell phone video camera in the hands of almost every suspect, fugitive, and bystander. Having to make decisions in just that instant, have them recorded, and then have those decisions determine your future. However, to these 17 men and 1 woman, despite all of that, you all answered the call. You've committed to something bigger than yourselves, and you're putting yourselves out there so that others can enjoy the freedom and security for all of us at great risk to yourselves. Further, there are people who understandably run from danger. There are people who take actions to protect themselves in danger. And then there are you all, that special group that exhibits such selflessness, such dedication, that you override your inherent fight or flight response to run towards danger in an effort to protect others. That's something extremely special, and that's a bond you all always have with one another and your brothers and sisters in arms. Thank you for that sacrifice and that service. I had the good fortune to get some materials regarding each member of the graduating academy class. And as I looked at each biography, I was struck by a few things. How many of you carry on the proud family tradition of serving in law enforcement? What an amazing legacy you carry on and exemplify for your own children. Many of you are already battle-tested, having served honorably and with distinction in our armed forces. An additional thank you to those who have served in that capacity, and what an incredible foundation you have as once again you don a uniform and a vest to put yourself in harm's way for your country. How many of you will be joined today by your parents on stage? A huge thank you to those parents. I imagine you all have much to do with instilling the values that would lead these graduates to a place of public service. You are a great mix of individuals from around the country, but you also include a sizable group of individuals from right here in Tidewater, and you want to give back to your communities directly. I've spent the last decade working for the Department of Justice as a prosecutor. Over that time, I've had the honor of working with patrol officers, correctional officers, sheriff's deputies, state troopers, FBI, ATF, DE agents, the Attorney General of the United States, and senators. I can say without any hesitation that it is local law enforcement that has the most difficult job amongst them. You all are the first on the scene. It is you all that have to make split-second decisions without the benefit of full information under what can be lethal circumstances. Everything you do is scrutinized, and the failure to do the little things can have a major impact. A bad car stop can lead to a bad search, which leads to the suppression of evidence, and a serious criminal goes free. In my experience, your job is not only difficult, but it's crucial. You are the eyes and ears for everyone else. We cannot keep our communities safe and prevent crime without your literal boots being on the ground. It is your field contact cards, your reports, your observations, but most importantly, your judgment and your instincts that enable you to notice when things are amiss. That you detect an escalating situation and it prompts you to ask a few follow-up questions. You arrive at a domestic violence scene and you save someone's life. To illustrate this point, my very first case as a prosecutor was a triple shooting by MS-13 in Northern Virginia. We were having an absolute nightmare trying to break into this one particular organized crime group. We brought in all those in the gang we thought might talk, but everyone honored the gang's omerta and refused. A few months into the investigation, we were coming up woefully short. We had 3 shooting victims and we couldn't get answers, let alone justice. Our break came from an enterprising bike squad officer assigned to patrol parks in Maryland. Perhaps not the most sought-after assignment. This officer received a call for service, and when he responded, he saw a group of about 20 males in light blue and white clothing milling around a soccer field. Something told this officer, his training, his judgment, his instincts, to follow up with some questions. What are you all up to? Where are you from? Why this park? How'd you get that fresh bruise? When those answers differed and were nonsensical, like we're playing soccer, but there wasn't a ball, or I fell, that's how I got this split lip, he asked more questions and eventually got contact information for every single one of those individuals, took a group photo as well as individual photos, and then he sent everyone home. What that officer had stumbled upon was a clique meeting of the Normandy Loco Salvatrucha clique of MS-13, and it included a squad from El Salvador that had been set up to cause mayhem in the DC area. That picture broke our case wide open. We used it to systematically break and dismantle the entire clique, and not only solve our original shooting, but 3 others, including the shooting of a pregnant female. It was only because that officer did the little things. because of his training, his judgment, and his willingness to fill out reams of paperwork that we were able to break open that case and get justice. It is you all that make that difference. You will have those moments every day when you can kick shell casings into the gutter, or you can pick them up, fill out paperwork, and submit them for tracing. I'm sure there'll be days where you're tired, want to go home, and you may be simply looking to just get through your shift. And oftentimes, you will be the only one who would ever be the wiser about what you do. It all starts with you all. Now, I certainly don't want to throw stones in glass houses, and I am certainly one of those people that has a lot more to learn. So please take that in mind when I give you some thoughts. Demand excellence from yourselves and from each other. Set the example for your fellow officers and your friends and your family. Be the person you want them to be. And as you will state affirmatively in a minute, never betray your integrity or your character, and hold yourself and others accountable. To the graduating class, Joseph, Elijahwan, Josh, Patrice, Philip, Brandon, Darius, Frank, Robert, Joseph, Lorray, John, Timothy, Brandon, Anthony, Joshua, and Justin, thank you so much for choosing this path of service. I'm so honored to bear witness to your special day. A special thank you to the families that are here today for your past, current, and future support. Congratulations to the BLE 19. May God protect and bless you.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope that each of you listened intently to what he had to say. He's a man that has a lot of vision for our area, and we're going to have a great partnership with his office. So again, I'm going to go off script. Lieutenant Crizzle is going to get mad at me after this is over, but that's all right. We'll get through it. Yesterday, we swore in, for the first time here in Newport News, our young adult police commissioners. 25 young men and women from each high school here in Newport News that are going to represent this community. They're going to talk to us a little bit about how they see this city through their eyes, how they see law enforcement. What are some of the issues? They're going to help us bridge the gap between youth and the police department. Some of them are only a few years younger than those that sit to my left. But I promise you, they're all a lot younger than me and some of the individuals who sit to my right. But they have a voice, right? They understand some things. I want to tap into that resource. One of those individuals, Samuel Cornett, back behind my right, he's a senior at Menchville High School. He's the first chair guitarist in Virginia State Guitar Orchestra. What that means in short is he's the #1 high school guitarist in the state of Virginia. Judge Flythe, who's here with us again today, I'm honored to see her and spend time with her. She swore this group in yesterday and had some very important words, both publicly and in private, to each one of those individuals as they took their oath. Mr. Cornett plans on attending Thomas Nelson Community College after he graduates high school, and he also plans to further his career by joining the Newport News Police Department or entering into the military. Mr. Cornett is an exceptional student at Menchville High School and is now one of the 24 students in the Young Adult Police Commissioners Program. Mr. Cornett hopes to become the president of the newly formed organization, and I am sure he is on his way to a very, very fine career. Before I make some remarks to our graduating class, I'm going to ask Mr. Cornett to play a piece for us. Sam. If you haven't guessed, I hope you can tell how important and what message that I'm trying to send to the community and our organization. The future of Newport News is in the youth of this city, and they play an important role, and I am thankful, and we are going to work with each and every one of them. Thank you, guys. So I just want to make some remarks to our class. I'm not going to be long, as you know, it's third day. We spent some time together earlier this week where I got to meet their families. We had some really good conversation. And myself and the 3 assistant chiefs spent some time with them yesterday morning, talking a little bit about expectations. And you've heard a little bit about what they will face and what they've done. Before I go any further, I want to thank the pastor and the congregation of this church for allowing us to hold our venue here. Would you please join me in a round of applause and give them an appreciation? And I would be remiss without recognizing Lieutenant Criswell and the men and women of the Newport News Training Academy. They have done an outstanding job, and I want to thank you for preparing these young men and women to be police officers in Newport News. Thank you, guys. To our recruit class, our graduation. Take a good look at the men and women that sit before you, friends and family and coworkers, individuals that you'll work with. There's a lot more going on today than just law enforcement. When I started 25 years ago, we would respond to a scene and make an arrest or write a report and go on to the next call. It's not good enough today. Today we're expected to solve problems, to think outside the box. And although this recruit class has learned a great deal from our instructors, I don't think that I taught a class or had an instructor come in and teach a class to make a 14-year-old man get up out of his bed and go to school. I don't think that I gave a class on being a counselor to a 10-year-old, 11-year-old girl who might be being bullied. I certainly didn't give a class on how to counsel individuals in personal relationships. But that's what they will be called to do every day. So what I did do, and the next class that sits above in the balcony will be sitting where this group is here in about 7 months. We didn't talk much about that type of training. What we talked about is their heart for people. The instructors here will teach individuals how to use their tool belt, how to do reports, to dot the I's and cross the T's. They will teach them how to use defensive tactics. They'll teach them how to drive in stressful situations. But it is extremely hard to teach someone heart. It's extremely hard to teach someone how do you treat citizens. So I asked them when I sit down, how do you feel about people? And that's the ones that shoot to the top of the list for me. The Newport News Police Department is the best police department on the East Coast, bar none. It is one of the most progressive, proactive, on the edge, new technology. There are a lot of good things going on in Newport News, and I don't just mean the police department, I mean our city, the city agencies that are coming together as a family. And that goes to our leadership of Ms. Cindy Ross, our city manager, and I want to say thank you for being here and your leadership in this city. So the men and young lady to my left that are joining the ranks, this brotherhood of law enforcement, well, you're also now becoming as part of our family. Your families will become part of our family. There are a lot of other police departments that you could have chose, but for whatever your reasons were, you chose Newport News. For that, I want to thank you. I appreciate you. the time, the training that you went through, it all paid off for this day. For your friends and family to see you come here and accept the oath that will be given later, to pin your badges on you. You will always, throughout your 25, 30-year career, you will always remember this day. There will be things that happen in your career, your field training officers, and particular calls that you go on, but you will always remember this day. Make the most of it. Be proud. You should be. You deserve what you've earned today, you have deserved, no doubt. Nothing was handed to you. You deserved it. You worked for it. And I'm proud of each and every one of you. But with that comes great expectations. Great expectations from myself, the command staff, the other officers that are here today, the precinct captains that you'll go work for. But most importantly, the expectations of the residents, the men and women that live, work, play, raise their families in Newport News. They will rely on you. No matter what the situation is, you will be the first people that they call. I urge you, I demand of you to treat them with respect, the same as you would any of your family members. We will make mistakes. You can turn on the television and see that across the country. We've made mistakes. But we have to right those wrongs and continue to move forward. We can't stay in one place. We've got to try new things, new strategies, new ideas. In this department, we have a strong focus on youth. Several of the officers here today or tomorrow morning will be joined with 45 young middle school age men that play basketball. Now, why is that important? I don't know if we had a class. We teach a class on basketball? And I will tell you that some of those men and women who coach basketball, Mr. Grayhouse, may not know much about the game. But I will tell you this, there is not an officer on this department that has a bigger heart for youth and community, and everyone who works in this department and lives in this city knows it. Thank you. So I encourage you to learn as much as you can, absorb everything in that you can, but as people like Grayhouse, Lieutenant Hardy, men and women that are here, model yourself after them, learn from them, ask questions. Don't ever do anything to tarnish what you've worked so hard for, what your families are going to come up here and pin on your chest. Be proud. This is a tremendous city and a tremendous department, and we're going to continue to move forward. We're going to continue to reduce crime. We're going to continue to work with the community and youth of our city. But my commitment to you is the health and wellness of this organization. Those are the three things that I make my foundation on here. I'm going to relieve as much stress and anxiety from you that I can. But you need to have that workplace balance. Invest in your families, your faith, sports, athletics, reading, youth, whatever it is, that it's more than just law enforcement. You all are very special. And again, I want to thank each and every one of you for joining the Newport News Police Department. I'm proud of you. I can't wait to see you on the street interacting with our great citizens here in Newport News. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Chief, for those words. Recruit Gray, who was nominated by his peers, will now bring greetings from the class.
Good evening, family and friends. Thank you for joining us all here on this special evening. I'd like to start off thanking our families. They have played the most integral part of helping us pursue our dream over these last 24 weeks. Our mothers, fathers, spouses, and significant others have all been on this roller coaster ride with us, and we can never thank you enough for all of your support. On our first day of the academy, MPO O'Barry told us that we would become a family. At that point in time, we were a room full of individuals who knew nothing about each other. The only thing that we knew is we were beginning an endeavor together that we would all remember. Over time in this academy, those words from our first day have been proven true. We have grown as individuals, as a team, and as a family. This growth is owed to part to our cadre of instructors who are to thank for this achievement. First to thank is our BLE coordinator, MPO O'Berry. If you were not teaching us, you brought in only the best to train us. Through your leadership and teaching, you have prepared us all to begin our work on patrol. You taught us that you can get much further in this career by just knowing how to speak to people. You also taught us that you can take a negative situation and create a learning experience for everyone involved. The importance is to build a common ground, to build a rapport, and ultimately, a relationship with the community. For this, we are grateful for the knowledge you instilled in us. For this, we thank you, MPO O'Berry. Next, I would thank Officer Walzak and Detective Walzak for their time, effort, and knowledge that they imparted upon us. Officer Walzak, we will be forever grateful for your knowledge and encouragement. You have a way of being able to break anything down for us to understand. One of my favorite things he told us was a quote that says, "Amateurs talk about hardware, professionals talk about software." The purpose being that just knowing something isn't where your strength comes from. It is the understanding of how it is done. That is where the strength comes from. The application is the most critical part of knowledge. Without it, the knowledge is ineffective. This quote was ingrained in all of us. It showed us the importance to take your time to fully understand every step of a problem you are faced with. At first, it will make you proficient, and then it will make it second nature. For this, we thank you, Officer Walzak. Detective Walzak, we'd like to thank you for the amount of time and energy you took to make our strength program. You have made us ready to go out and do our jobs to the fullest. Your dedication to break down every lift, technique, and workout ensured that we would get out of the program everything we put into it. For this, we thank you, Detective Walzak. MPO Thweet, MPO Poe, and MPO Hudson, thank you for the knowledge you instilled in us. Your knowledge through Firearms Week and Driving Week will be with us throughout our careers. For this, we thank you. Lieutenant Cresswell, thank you for running an outstanding academy. You showed us the importance of your appearance. You taught us to take pride in how we look to make sure we were squared away and confident. You taught us that we have one first impression to the community. You taught it, so make the best of it. The verbal interaction you taught us are skills that are not just related to police work, but are useful for our everyday life. For this, Lieutenant Cresswell, we thank you. Sergeant Sinclair, you were such a positive person to come into contact with. Every time we ran into you, you had a smile on your face and asked us how we were doing that day. A simple gesture that at times meant a lot to us. Having a constant positive person in the academy is great because it lightens whatever mood you're in that day. For this, Sergeant Sinclair, we thank you. Last but not least, Sergeant Bartels. On day one, you set the tone for the entire academy. You made sure that we understand how things were to run. You encouraged us not to let this job consume our lives. With this warrior mindset class, you prepared us for success. Your presence during Firearms Week and Defensive Tactics Week ensured that everything instructors were trying to teach us was received and executed to the best it could be. You ensured we were all best prepared for the field of work as we can be. For this, Sergeant Bartels, we thank you. During this academy, we have met great leaders, instructors, and people. Tonight is only the beginning. This is but our first chapter of this career we are all starting. Thank you, everyone, for your support and knowledge. BLE 19, time to get to work.
I would now like to bring up Master Police Officer and BLE Coordinator Wilbur O'Berry to present the James D. Fox Award.
Good evening. I would like to take a moment to summarize the James D. Fox Award of Excellence and introduce the award recipient. James Fox began his career in law enforcement while he was attending college. He was a dispatcher, police officer, and sergeant for the Virginia Commonwealth University Police Department. He was hired by the Henrico County Police Department in 1973, where he rose through the ranks and was promoted to the rank of Assistant Chief in 1991. He retired from Henrico in February of 2004. Chief Fox began his tenure with the Newport News Police Department on August 1st, 2004. As Chief of Police, he worked tirelessly to reduce crime and build the city of Newport News into a vibrant, growing community. He retired from our department and law enforcement on September 1, 2013. Throughout his career, Chief Fox had a passion for leadership and excellence in all aspects of policing. He had a vision to provide the best possible training to Newport News recruits and felt being an independent academy was a critical step to accomplishing this. Through his tireless leadership and vision, the Newport News Training Academy became an independent academy in 2009, and today we graduate our 19th class. We appreciate his leadership and dedication to the safety of our community and his tireless efforts into making the Newport News Police Department one of excellence. Our status as an independent and nationally accredited training academy is one of his many legacies he had given us. The James D. Fox Award for Excellence is appropriately presented to a graduate of the Newport News Police Department's Basic Law Enforcement Training Academy who displays academic performance, teamwork, leadership, passion, character, and commitment. The Academy training staff selects the award recipient based on the recruit's overall performance in these areas during the entire 23-week-long Academy. It is my privilege to announce the recipient of the James D. Fox Award of Excellence to Patrice Daigle.
It is now time for the Honorable Judge Tanika Flythe to swear in the graduates.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and especially to the distinguished guests that are here and also to these wonderful recruits. You all aren't able to look to the side because you're not given orders to, but I have on a sneaker, just one sneaker. It's not proper court attire. Don't wear it to court. It really is an honor to be here with the friends and family and also your new family. One of the greatest privileges that we get to do as judges is to not just serve our community by hearing from you and being able to take in the evidence that you're going to present and the hard work that you're going to do out on the streets when you're coming in to present it in the court, but absolutely the privilege and honor of swearing you in and giving you the oath that you're going to take and serve with your lives. And I appreciate that so much. And I want to say thank you on behalf of the judiciary and on behalf of the community. I live not far from here, and I know very well that what you do is also serve me and my family. So I want to say thank you. Now I will administer the oath. If you all will raise your right hands with me, please. You'll repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Larry Holmes,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia,
and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge and perform all the duties incumbent upon me as a probationary officer, police officer for the city of Newport News. According to the best of my ability. So help me God. Thank you, recruits, and welcome to the Newport News Police Department.
We will now move into the certificate and badge presentations. Please hold your applause until the last recruit's name is read to allow family members to hear their loved one's name. Joseph Buffalo. Olajuwon Bino. Josh Cameron. Patrice Daigle. Darius Davis. Frank Denicola. Robert Gray. Joseph Hall. LeRae Holmes. John Kazor. Timothy McDonald. Brandon Pingley. Anthony Rouleau. Joshua Smith. Justin Taylor. Philip Valdez. Brandon Weaver. Those family members who will be pinning the badges on the officers, please come forward and stand in front of your loved ones here at the front of the stage.
You may now pin on the badges. Chief Drew will now administer the oath of honor.
Before I administer the oath, Delegate Mullen, thank you for joining us today. You never miss an event. Thank you, sir. To the Police Foundation, who helped make some of the party afterwards, the refreshments that we have. Bob, Orlando, Amanda, you guys do a phenomenal job. Thank you for being with us on each one of these events, and thank you for your continued support. Police Foundation really take care of us here in our police department. And last, I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize a mentor of mine, Chief Carvello. Thank you for being here, sir. When I got to Newport News, he was one of the first visitors I've had. He's a former chief here in Newport News, and he's kind of like a legend, right? And if anybody ever saw the movie The Godfather, right? So he comes in and he sits down to talk to me, and, well, he talked to me. We'll leave it at that. Thanks for being here, sir. So at this point, I'm supposed to read the oath. So we are like a family here. Sitting behind me is Chief Joe Moore. Chief Joe Moore he has served this community and the men and women of Newport News for 39 plus years. I'm going to ask Joe to come forward. Joe is going to retire in January. He says he feels like things are on the right track. And I'm sure he'll be the second person to come and give me some advice, and I will always listen and take it. But I am going to recuse myself and ask Chief Moore to give the oath of office to these new men and women of the Newport News Police Department. Chief.
Thank you, Chief. I always said I wouldn't leave until I knew the department was in good hands. So obviously we're in good hands, and if not, I'll be back. I know where you live. I would invite all law enforcement officers in the audience, current and retired, if you would like to please stand and join us in reciting the oath of honor. If I could ask everyone to raise their right hands, please, and repeat after me. On my honor, I will never betray my badge. My integrity, my character, or the public trust. I will always have the courage to hold myself and others accountable for our actions. I will always uphold the Constitution and the community I serve. So help me God. Thank you.
Now it's time to close out our ceremony. So before we do that, I'd like to invite Chaplain Reed back up here to come forward with the benediction. Chaplain Reed.
Let us pray. And now as we depart and go our separate ways, I pray for everyone here, your safe return home tonight and always. Blessings to all those who daily connect respect, protect, and serve. Almighty Father, help us to remember that freedom does not automatically perpetuate itself, that we have to work at it, nurture it, protect it, and pray for it. Lord, be with each new officer from now and forever to strengthen, support, and defend them. Bless the families and friends who have come in support of our graduates and those fellow officers who welcome and embrace them. For those whom we honor this evening, may God bless each of you for the courage you have displayed in taking of the solemn oath as sworn officers of the law and as members of Newport News' finest on this very evening, and for the extraordinary services you will provide and sacrifices you will make on behalf of this, our beloved community, in the coming days. And now we ask your blessings upon the refreshments that have been prepared, those who provided them, and those involved in its preparation. God bless us, everyone. Amen.
So we would like to thank everyone for your support and for coming this afternoon to support our BLE 19. As we close, if I would just finally ask everyone to please stand for the recessional.
Right, hey!